Welcome to the show, a podcast where we speak about people, those who have done extraordinary in their life. And today I have a special guest. His name is Sachin Kamath. He is LinkedIn's top artificial AI voice. And he has been working in the creative space, in the creative industry for some time already. However, his background was not really just the creative. He is engineer by education and in the creative industry by choice. Welcome Sachin to the podcast. We will learn a lot from him, what he has done, his life story, and all. Sachin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. We had a couple of conversations earlier. It was wonderful, and it's nice to be here. And hello, everyone, whoever is listening on the other side.
Right, thank you. Sachin, what I have understood about you so far with our interactions, you are an engineer, but you are a creative tech entrepreneur. And you are contributing into this, like integrating the AI into the creative industry,
Right.
right? And your one of the main goal potentially, or maybe the near future term, something like creation of consistent character AI.
Exactly. Yep.
Correct. And then you are gonna revolutionize the character design and the visual consistency.
Hopefully.
So, but then people will not understand all these things if we don't tell them from the basic foundation what
Right.
exactly it means for the people. Like, I also saw some of your sketches you have
Mm-hmm.
done.
Yep.
Can you please enlighten us, show us what that means,
Yep.
sketching by hand, and
Yep.
now AI coming into picture? Share your journey basically.
So my entire background has been in engineering. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, my master's in aerospace engineering. I was working in Procter and Gamble as a senior technical lead for 6 years. Everything engineering, process, technical. There was nothing about creativity or like drawing or painting, whichever we relate to. Usually, when we say creativity, we think of some form of visual arts, right? So
Mm,
that's what
mm,
we associate with. And throughout the journey, throughout my engineering and tech career, I've always simply loved drawing and painting. So even when I was in high school, even when I was in NITK, I
mhm,
used to create charcoal drawings, portrait drawings, so hyper realistic portrait drawings. So I would look at a photograph of a person and I would try
mm,
to recreate it exactly using pencils and charcoal. I used to paint a lot of things. So I always kept that artistic side of me. It was more like a passive thing that I used to do during weekends when I was at my full time job, like a getaway. I was
mhm,
always by that creative side and I kept it as a hobby. And what usually happens in a traditional creative process, let's say a 2D animation studio, usually you have a character artist sketching the first making the first pencil sketches for that particular character that they are thinking about. Let's say the
mhm,
character looks like, let's take example of Mickey Mouse, right? They
mhm,
have to first concept what will the character look like. This is the
mhm,
outfit that it needs to wear. This is the shape of the eye, the ears. Usually there is a character artist sketching this in different poses, expressions, and angles, trying to tell a story in very simple, rough sketches. From there, they start building up something we call a storyboard, where
mhm.
there is one scene where Mickey Mouse is doing something, there is another scene where you have Mickey Mouse doing something else, and then now you can start telling a story when you put them together. And that's the
Okay.
traditional approach. And that's what I mean by the consistent characters. So, whenever you want to tell a story, you want to create the same character doing multiple things in different scenarios and different scenes. And
Mhm,
only then an observer can really understand that it's the same character. And that's pretty challenging. It's especially with AI when you want to keep
mhm,
that character very consistent across different generation. And that's something that
mhm,
I'm very passionate about, trying to figure out the right tech stack and solutions to enable any creative professional who wants to tell their stories, to enable them to tell it by using AI and create these wonderful character designs and put them together in a story.
What I understood from this conversation is that The design is still happening in the mind.
Right.
We are designing or thinking about the characters and the
Yep.
storyboard. Everything is in the mind.
Yep.
Before we used to do it maybe by some kind of sketching on the paper,
Yep.
pencils, charcoals, paints. But now, or maybe a few years earlier also, potentially it was not available to everyone, but probably it is now publicly available that people can start utilizing, I mean, converting their thinking brain
Yep.
concept directly using the computer and AI,
Yep.
telling them the story. Okay, I want this and that, and the computer will build it for them.
Exactly. You're absolutely right in saying it's the human who is concepting, the artist who is concepting
Hmm.
what should the character be looking like, what should it feel like, and how does it fit into the entire story that they are talking about. So that's the creative part where the artist is really bringing in the creativity, their own thinking, their own storytelling. And the
Hmm.
part where you try to visualize and sketch things out is very manual currently.
Yeah.
I enjoy sketching, but there is so much demand for storytelling and visual content that we see on our phones on digital medium that it
Hmm.
quickly becomes a bottleneck, and you
Hmm.
need to start creating and concepting characters very quickly. And that's where AI really helps, trying to reduce a lot of effort in that initial ideation. We call it ideation and concepting stages of the design
Hmm.
process.
Hmm. So what we are trying to do is we are speeding up the process.
Yeah. So that's the
Got it.
pre-production stages. That is usually in advertising or filmmaking, there is pre-production, there is planning, pre-production, research.
Hmm.
Before that, then there is production, and then there is post-production. And in pre-production,
Hmm.
there is a lot of effort which goes into bringing those characters and mock-ups to life very quickly. And that's where AI really helps reduce a lot of effort and get the ideas flowing very quickly.
What do you mean by production or post production? What exactly that means?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's think of any advertisement that you're seeing on the television. Let's say it's an
Hmm.
ad for shampoo on Indian
Yeah.
television. So the
Oh.
first thing is the creative agency is
Hmm.
taking what the brand is about, what the shampoo is about, and
Hmm.
trying to build concepts. What story can they tell as part of the advertisement that they are showing you? So
Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
whole research concepting phase. And what does the audience like? What does the target audience like? The next step is trying to filter those concepts and start creating some characters, some storyboards. The creative director here, so that the person who is driving this is the creative director and the producer. And the creative
Hmm.
director is going to say, I want this particular scene, and there needs to be this lady standing in this position, and the camera should be in this. So all of
Okay.
that planning is happening in the initial stages, even
Hmm.
before anything is done. That's pre-production. You're working with your team, you're working with other designers to really concept things out and plan every single thing. The next step is the production itself, where you go to the physical location, take all your
Hmm.
cameras, get the models, you have the setup. You, let's say you rent out a space or you rent out a studio, and those maybe days or weeks are the production
Hmm.
where they actually film things. But even before
Ah.
that, you need to
Okay.
plan out everything that needs to happen during those production days,
Hmm.
because production is very expensive time,
Got it.
because
Got
you're
it. Got
renting a
it.
lot of things, you're renting space, you're getting people to do stuff, you're outsourcing, inviting videographers, photographers, VFX artists, right, on a high
Yeah.
end advertisement. You have the models and stuff. And the post production is once you have all the photos, all the
Hmm.
videos. When the photographer takes all the photos, he goes back to his studio and starts editing those photos. He starts saying, this
Hmm.
one is good, let's color correct, let's try to change the tone or the contrast, all of those things. So they do the compositing or editing in that stage.
Hmm.
So they edit the photos, and that's the post production. When you come back to your studio, you put everything on
Hmm.
your computer and you use softwares to then
Yeah.
make it, turn it into a level that it looks like a wonderful ad, a seamless ad going from scene
Mm-hmm.
to scene, and you're only using softwares to stitch
Mm-hmm.
them together and to do all that visual effects and stuff.
Understood.
Exactly. It's months and months of effort and planning and a lot of people involved.
So that means like advertising must be expensive, for
Very
any
much.
company.
Big brands can afford to spend millions of dollars on a single ad, which can be
Mm-hmm.
shown pan India across your the TV channels on social media, right? So they have all those resources and creative agencies working for them to make that happen. But small and medium sized businesses often struggle to
Mm-hmm.
create these high budget, high end ads simply because it
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of time and resources and they don't have the budget. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where social
Mm-hmm.
media comes very handy as well.
Yeah,
And
right.
they can post things on Instagram, make quick videos. That's a wonderful way for small and medium sized businesses to get attention of people.
Yeah, right. So, Sachin, this was really very good background. Now I'm coming to the tough question of this
Yeah.
whole podcast
Yeah.
is what inspired you to switch from tech industry to this co-founding the consistent character AI and Neo 11?
Right. So it started around like 2.5 years ago when
Mm-hmm.
AI was first coming along. This was even before ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the time when millions of users started interacting with large language models, and ChatGPT had the highest number of, I think they reached a million users in like just a few days. Even before that, there were models where you could create images. They weren't that good, though. They weren't that
Mm-hmm.
good. If I tried to create an image of a dog or a cat, they would look very horrible and weird. And
Yeah.
people, if you try to create people, the hands would be everywhere. The feet would not
Yes.
look great. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't make sense out of it. But there was something there. You could create experimental visuals, something that
Mm-hmm.
looks more between art and realism. So you could experiment a lot and play around
Mm-hmm.
with prompting, play around with different models. There were GANs back then, style GANs, even before the diffusion models. So you could create some cool looking visuals. And we started testing this. I had the engineering background and I had kind of a knack of trying and experimenting these things. I was just curious and I wanted to see what possibly it could do. I could see things starting to shape up within a couple of months, even though it did not make very sense. The first few weeks, I would test things. It didn't make much sense, but it was curious because I had not seen anything like this before. I started reading about the diffusion models. There are computer vision models which could detect objects
Yeah.
from an
Yeah.
image, but they were not accessible. Normal users on the internet couldn't access any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly, there were a couple of models like stable diffusion models. Then Midjourney is another tool. I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure you have mastered
Yeah.
it by now. So Midjourney was one of the best tools back then, even right
Mm-hmm.
now. They
Mm-hmm.
launched their latest version where it could create some wonderful looking images. Still not great. You couldn't get
Yeah.
that level of photorealism, but it could
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of amazing things. You could see that this is progressing super fast and this is going to really change the way you are going to create visual content. So naturally, my curiosity got into it. I started testing things out and sharing on LinkedIn. That was my
Mm-hmm.
first place. I just started
Yeah.
creating and started testing things out. And in the meantime, I wanted to change my careers as well. I wanted to change my tech job because I thought, hey, I wanted to learn something more creative. I wanted to learn design. I wanted to get into design. So I started taking graphic design, UX, UI design courses. This was
Oh,
like
wow.
4 or 5 years ago. And I
Oh,
started
good. Okay.
taking some of these certifications, and AI came along in between. And then I started experimenting them. I started sharing things on LinkedIn. And quickly,
Mm-hmm.
people started reaching out and they're saying, I would love to know how to do this. I would love to learn how to do this. So
Oh, wow.
I just started sharing things. I started creating some recorded videos, posting them, and created a simple website. started adding those
Hmm.
videos over there, and it quickly turned into a full cohort. I started working with Growth School in India, teaching
Hmm.
generative AI for visual design courses in the first months. From there, I could really see a lot of people would find this very beneficial in their work, in their
Mm.
creative
Okay.
projects, and
Mm.
that's where it all came along. So started doing cohorts. It became like a
Hmm.
full-time thing. I had to put all my time and effort into building those courses, have those live
Hmm.
sessions. The feedback was great, and it
Yes.
just kept on going. I enjoyed it. My partner, Diana Zevel, was into education.
Hmm.
She loved the creative side of things and building those courses as well. We started
Yes.
putting things together, experimenting, getting feedback, improving, iterating.
Hmm.
Over a period of 1 year, we are now doing our ninth cohort,
Wow.
which will be running. We usually have 20 to 25 people, creative directors, business owners, co founders of creative agencies. And you were there as well, along with your daughter.
Right.
I hope you
Yeah.
could see the potential for your own business. During those training programs and
Hmm.
with with the creative teams in agencies, the main challenge was how to create consistent characters because this is still not
Yes.
possible. I realized there are solutions to do it. It's just that there are no tools that can do it so well,
Hmm.
and they are not focused
Hmm.
on it. I
Yeah.
started putting the AI workflows together and I experimented and
Hmm.
it worked. And that's the way
Wow.
the
Hmm.
whole idea came along. I started talking to creative agencies. This was the biggest pain point for them. And that's the whole idea of you
Yeah.
can create consistent characters with AI in any pose, scene, in any setting, and tell your story.
Hmm. Yeah. So to Diana,
Yeah,
one feedback. My daughter said during the course
yeah,
that she has got such beautiful eyes.
yeah.
That is this real? That's what she's saying.
I'm gonna pass on the compliments to her.
Please do
Yeah,
that. Yeah. And yes, of course, this course was wonderful, which I attended with you. I mean, you teaching us, you and Diana together. Cohort was
appreciate it.
excellent. The all the content was really superb. I we learned it, and afterwards I jumped directly into the mid journey,
Yeah,
started creating the images and all.
yeah,
In the beginning, my prompt was bad.
yeah,
I started learning also the prompting.
yeah,
In the beginning, what was happening if I write, give me some kind of cow, and then I'll get
yeah,
maybe half cow and half lion.
yeah,
So not really fully lion, but in the
yeah.
shadow you can say, okay, it's not
Exactly.
really a
Yeah,
cow.
yeah.
Or
No.
maybe if I say people sitting in office and trying to figure out how to fill resources in their
Yeah,
team, how to
yeah,
find, I see people sitting in the chair, they're looking at the dashboard, but
yeah,
their legs are missing.
yeah. That's one of the other challenges as well. Whenever
Yeah.
you want more than one person, like two
Hmm.
people are still okay. Like more than
Hmm.
two people,
Yeah.
three people, and when there is a crowd of people, AI
Yeah.
cannot do a good job because it starts mixing up things. It does not know how the
Uh-huh.
feet and hands really work. It's very
Yeah.
good at one single person portrait doing couple of things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it always messes up when there are a crowd of people, and that's simply because it does not have enough data set that it's being
Hmm.
trained on. It's just trying to guess what that
Hmm.
person on the background or sitting on this chair might be
Yeah.
looking like.
But I loved actually using Midjourney, even the runway. Those
Yeah,
were really great.
I'm
I
glad.
did some,
Yeah.
yeah, superb, and they are useful. Tell me, Sachin, so do you really see that the AI will transform to the level where we see hyper realistic or at least realistic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's already happening. We have models like Flux by
flux.
Black
Yeah.
Forest Labs. They are the original creators of stable diffusion models. So
Mm-hmm.
they have created this Flux dev model, Flux One, Flux One Schnell. Schnell is
Mm-hmm.
fast, and
Fast.
Flux
Yeah.
Dev, and they are the German
Hmm.
research, and
Yes.
now they
Yeah.
are their own company, Black Forest Labs. They are even better than Midjourney in terms of photorealism. They
Hmm.
look like you have actually captured those images with photographs, and that's one. And even Midjourney is doing a great job at creating some of these photorealistic, more, let's say, more polished images. They look like they have been photoshopped, and you can tell that that's made with AI.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
Flux does a very good job with photorealism, and you can already get those images. We are already there.
Okay. I think I took the Fluxa as well, tested
Yeah,
that
you
also.
tested it, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
right,
hard to
right.
believe. The next thing you
Yeah,
see on the internet might not even be true.
true.
Yeah,
My daughter was, in the beginning, she was not that, she was saying my daughter can do better sketching than me,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
She was not really excited about all these things.
yeah,
But later on, when she started seeing the stuff
yeah,
in action,
yeah,
then, oh my God, what all things can happen nowadays.
yeah.
People cannot believe it, actually.
Even when I take a look at it, I'm like, I would have never guessed this. This
Yeah.
is fake, and
Mm.
this is made with AI.
Yeah, right. So then, Sachin, what are the biggest challenge then in this industry? Then, I mean,
Yeah,
people. I mean, there one side is the user, end user. Okay, I mean, normal people potentially they will use it for just fancy stuff. Their businesses, business house, small or
yeah,
medium or big size. Look at these people, and then what are the challenges from either developer. I mean, the service provider side. Three
yeah.
three angles we are looking at.
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge right now for its adoption is the IP rights of the images that will be created.
Mm.
All these AI models are trained on images that were on the internet. So every artist's
Oh.
work, images,
Mm-hmm.
photographs, artistic styles, whatever was there on the internet has been scraped out, and the AI model was trained on it without permission.
Uh
That's
huh.
one of the biggest challenges right now, because you should not use copyrighted materials. You should not infringe someone else's work. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
I put together 10 years ago, I created my own artistic style. Let's say I used softwares like Procreate or some digital painting softwares, and I have created
Mm-hmm.
my own unique artistic style. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
all my artistic styles are scraped out with AI, and
Uh huh.
any user can just go to that AI model and type my
Mm-hmm.
name and get images exactly like I was doing, which I spent a whole lot of time and effort to bring to life. That's the
Yeah.
biggest challenge right now. Big brands, especially in advertising, and don't want to use content that infringes somebody else's copyright, because then they have lawsuit and all of these. So
Oh.
that's one of the
Okay.
biggest challenge.
How do they make sure
So they don't use.
that what do we have to tell to the that don't use this, don't use that? No.
Yeah, you
Or
can try something. You never know when a result is actually very close to somebody else's work. So there are
mm-hmm.
some IP rights regulation policies that have been coming up, but
Mm-hmm.
things like you are allowed to create the first drafts using AI,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have to manually edit those and
Ah,
do
okay.
quite a bit of editing, so that you can prove that a lot of manual effort has gone into making it unique, and not just
Mm-hmm.
recreating something some other artist had created. So you need to prove that. And so right now you cannot just prompt and get an image and copyright it. You cannot copyright images generated with AI. You can
Okay.
use
So
it
this is also.
Yeah, you can use
Mm.
it commercially for your startup.
Uh-huh.
You created these
Mm-hmm.
images. You can
Mm-hmm.
post them on social media. If you have purchased a subscription from Midjourney, you are covered
Mm-hmm.
under their policies that you can use this, but
Ah,
you cannot copyright them. You cannot say this is only
okay.
yours. Somebody else can
Mm.
take the same
Mm.
image and also use it.
Got it. So your
That's
commercials can be used by anybody's.
But
Yeah.
even as part of that, there are certain best practices wherein you don't try to, even if I'm using them as part of my brand, I don't
Mm-hmm.
try to infringe somebody else's work, or
Mm-hmm.
I use it in concepting, right? Like ideation, concepting, to create
Mm-hmm.
a presentation pitch deck. Once I
Mm-hmm.
know how the final visual is going to look, I can use the traditional tools to build on top of it. So I think that part needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, a lot of people are using these tools, creating images, posting things on social media, and that is happening, right? And
Yeah.
that is to some extent okay, because you're covered with the policies, but still
Mm.
a lot of artists naturally are not happy with it because all of these AI models are trained on that work, which is I fully agree with those.
I
Yeah. So
understand.
there is
Yes,
no
yes.
clear way on what is
Mm.
right and what is wrong right now.
Do you see a way if I create an image using AI tools like Midjourney and others? So do I have to pass the final image what I have got through some kind of engine and then check it out which or things infringing and all? Is
Yeah.
there is any ways?
You could do a reverse image search. So whatever image
Reverse
you
image
create,
search.
there are applications like Google search. You can upload the image and it tells
Mm-hmm.
you if there are similar images on the internet somewhere.
Oh,
So you can
okay,
that's a
okay.
basic check that can be done
Mm.
without spending any time or
And
research.
if I edit that image further,
So if you are editing that
okay.
image, there is no clear answer to how much you should edit.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Yeah,
are
okay.
making changes on a significant level where
Mm-hmm.
it's it's not exactly looking like that, but
Mm-hmm.
you have done that 20-30% of editing by yourself, and then it's okay.
So what I see is that potentially, even if somebody is infringing, those who can sue are on that side. Uh, they will also see whom they are suing. I mean, I mean, if they have the people, the other side of the people, they have the money, then it makes sense. If they don't
Yeah,
have the money,
yeah.
then
Usually,
it's waste of time.
usually it's the big brands, right? And all
Yeah,
the
right.
generative
Hmm.
AI model companies, they are heavily funded and have the
Yeah,
resources on their side.
I got it. So these are really the challenges, most
That's
pain point, I think.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
biggest one. The second one is the usage itself.
usage.
You can create a lot of deep fake content. Like you cannot go to the internet and know which one is real and which one is fake. You can make an image looking like somebody else. We have already seen examples of this where Trump
Right.
is
Yeah.
doing all kinds of nonsense. None of those
Hmm.
images are real. So a lot of deep
Hmm.
fake content on the internet which can be misused in many different ways. And that's the other
Yeah.
challenge.
It cannot be avoided. Then people
He,
are used to
the social
doing all this.
usually they spread through social media, and social
Hmm.
media can have blockers for such kind of
Ha
content which they
ha.
already have. If you check
Okay.
Instagram posting right
Hmm.
now, you
Hmm.
can actually mark it created with AI. Like the user needs to mark it. Whoever is posting
Hmm.
created with
Oh,
AI.
okay.
It was not
Okay. Okay.
existing
Okay.
before. It was not existing a
Uh-huh.
year ago. So now they are
Hmm.
adding those filters, and there will be filters if you're creating deep fake of someone and posting it, and
Someone can block it then.
the application has built-in filters which can block it. So I think they are doing, but
Oh,
but you
okay.
cannot
Okay.
fully stop it. It's still happening in other ways.
I think that's where the problem comes when the government agencies, like the law enforcing and all,
Yeah,
they don't want such things to happen. But if the platform
yeah.
is not able to control such things, then it's not aligned. Then there will be a fight between the government and the platform owners.
I think those dynamics are super complicated, and
Hmm.
we don't really understand it fully yet.
Yeah. Okay. So, Sachin, can you discuss the concept of AI that means here
Right,
in case of image generations?
right. AI hallucinations are unintended output which the
Hmm.
AI is producing that does not follow your original request. And this
Hmm.
happens all the time because AI models are designed to guess the next best thing. If you're using ChatGPT, it's guessing the next word and then the next word after it. That's how it's creating the entire thing.
Yeah.
In image
Okay.
creation, this is even more significant because it's a pixel space where every pixel is being guessed based on the rest. Because of the diffusion models, it's always guessing the next pixel, and it
Mm-hmm.
can create artifacts you never requested. Artifacts are like something
Mm-hmm.
that you never prompted, right? You didn't write
Mm-hmm.
it in your prompt, but it created it.
Mm.
And that's the kind of AI hallucination that you cannot control right now.
Mm.
That's just the way the models work.
Okay.
So, for example, in an image, you ask
Mm-hmm.
for an image of a cow, but then
Mm-hmm.
It created probably the leg of another animal, right?
Yes.
But you did not ask
Right.
for it, and that's an AI
Yeah.
hallucination.
It cannot be controlled at the moment, right? If I say, don't add, in the scenario, don't
Yeah.
bring any animals.
You can control it to some extent, like to you can use negative prompts in diffusion models. If you're starting to see, let's say, in the image that you created, the animal,
Hmm.
you have the prompt which says, create me an image of a cow, but it starts creating images where the legs look like a zebra's legs. Then
Yeah.
in your negative
Mm.
prompt, you can type the next time zebra. And
Okay.
it's,
Okay.
yeah, no,
Mm.
like in the negative
Mm.
prompt,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
zebra. So it's
Negative
starting to
prompt,
avoid
zebra. Yeah.
what
Yeah. Hmm.
what image creation models don't understand within the main. There is always a positive prompt and a negative prompt. It does not understand negation. So if you say no zebra
Hmm.
within the positive
Hmm.
prompt, it does not understand. So you have to add it in a separate
Separate.
section.
Mm.
Usually,
Mm.
most of these tools have a negative prompt section where you can add it,
Okay.
and then you can start avoiding these things. And the latest models, like I said, Flux, Midjourney,
Hmm.
latest version, they are already very good. They do create very high level of consistency based on what your prompt is, but you cannot always avoid it. So you can also structure your prompts in a way
Hmm.
that it is it understands your vision very well, what you want to create, and then it
Hmm.
chooses the right data set, and like right data set to start creating those images. With iterations you can get it close and try to avoid those hallucinations.
Makes sense. Much more clear. Thank you for explaining this concept of hallucinations. Sachin, another question which was always in like my mind, relate this whole stuff with the practical application.
Yeah.
So far, we were talking about the people at large, they have their own uses of AI. They are most probably they are using it potentially, they do not know,
Hmm.
or otherwise they know it and they are using it
Yeah.
deliberately. But okay, let's talk about some practical. So far we touched about the creative agencies and all, the marketing agencies and all. So, if we can list down few more,
Hmm.
like which all areas these can be used practically. Who all can use it?
Right. I think image generation can be used by absolutely anybody for simple, even simple documents, or like the most common example is presentation for
Presentation. Yeah.
pitch decks,
Mm.
presentation within a business environment. Anybody within the company might
Mm-hmm.
have to present something and might have to
Yeah.
communicate their ideas
Mm-hmm.
to another person. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hard to try to describe the image and then
Mm-hmm.
expect that the other person understands exactly like you are visualizing it.
Yeah.
Usually there is always
Mm.
like missed information, and whenever you have a presentation that you want to give, it's always better to add more visuals to communicate your idea. And there it's one
Mm.
of the best use cases, using AI to just structure your prompts for whatever you're trying to visualize and create those
Mm-hmm.
images. It need not be perfect, but
Mm.
if it helps you communicate your ideas, it's great, right? I feel it's one of the top use cases for absolutely anybody, because almost everyone these days has
Yeah.
to communicate their ideas and probably has to give a presentation. To create these images, it's great. A lot of them
Mm.
are free, so you can get them done.
Nice use case. Yes, I can understand. We pour tons of our time
Yeah.
and maybe money as well,
Choosing images.
choosing images and really configuring. The idea is to convey our message to
Yes.
the end user. And if AI can do it like boosting our productivity like this,
Yeah.
then I just tell the intention I need some kind of presentation so that
Yeah.
my intention is fulfilled. Then AI
Exactly.
will come up
Yeah.
with the maximum probability. Maybe not for everyone, but
Yeah.
and if I know the other person, other side, the
Yes.
people, then
You
I can
can
also give potentially yes.
you can
Yeah.
effectively communicate your idea to
Yeah.
the team, to your boss, to other
Hmm.
stakeholders, whoever you want to involve with your idea, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, for the other purpose, like if I need to summarize my a big email,
Yeah.
I'm using it at the moment. I just
Yeah.
click a button and say summarize, and it
Exactly.
just gives me in 5 lines.
Yes.
It
Exactly.
saves tons of my mind. At the
Exactly.
same time, on the other side, if we need to develop something, generate something, we can
Yeah.
use these image generations. In fact, for my website, I'm working on using these things.
Yeah.
Also for my presentation,
Exactly.
I'm trying to use this. Will
Yeah.
hopefully I'll benefit to save some time.
I think you will. At least you will start to get more ideas out of it. You might
Mm,
not even
yeah,
have thought of something that
exactly.
it could
Yeah,
be like that. It could
yeah,
look like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. I mean, if I would have created without all these things,
Yeah.
then I would have gone a very small, narrow path.
Exactly.
But asking the internet, I mean,
Yeah.
basically these LLMs, then I get more broader,
Exactly.
choice, and from there I can then look at all those things, and then I can choose which path to.
That's also one of the top use cases. Usually, artists and creatives have creative blocks. It's
Mm,
like you're looking at a blank canvas, but you don't know
mm-hmm,
where to start. That's when AI is very helpful. You can throw
mm,
in your ideas and get
mm,
10, 20, 30 different variations of it.
mm.
That sparks your creative process. And that's
Yeah,
one of the top use cases.
that's super useful. So, what are you developing in your space at consistent character? How people can connect? So, let's look into that. Okay, before coming to that, let's look further first about your the cohort program which you have started.
Yeah.
9 iterations you have already done.
Yeah.
So, tell us more about if somebody is interested in that doing or attending your cohorts, what exactly they get out of it, what they become.
The cohort is called AI Creative Accelerator. It's a 3 week live cohort. So there will be 3 live sessions every week.
Mm-hmm,
We have one live
mm-hmm,
session every week. And every day there will be materials. There will be additional videos, materials, prompts, templates, tools, like step-by-step guides on which build on top of the live sessions. So during the live sessions, it's going to be live demos
mm-hmm,
and practices where like we together we we do the demo and we have those guides and everybody does it along and then also uses as part of the project. So
mm-hmm,
it's a 3 week program, and I would say it's most beneficial for creative professionals, designers within or like creative agency team or founders. Anybody in the creative industry is involved with creating visual content or like let's say images, videos, any kind of visual content that goes on social media. So if this is the bulk of their work, this cohort is super useful. This program walks through concepting, visualization, ideation, then creating mock-ups, creating images, controlling the images, because
mm-hmm,
controlling AI models is one of the most important things, because you might type a prompt and get an output. If you want to get the output like you're looking for, like it should be
mm-hmm.
like this.
Yeah.
It should be about my brand. It should be about this product. It should be about this background and this scene and this person. You need control of that. So, how to
Mm-hmm,
control your AI image generation? Then, from there, how to animate using AI.
mm-hmm,
The entire end to end creative process of creating visual content is what we walk through with the latest AI models that are out there
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
Flux, like Midjourney latest, the large language models latest, like ChatGPT with the latest model. Then there are so many other use cases in the models that go beyond just Midjourney, the tools that you can
Yeah.
use on the web. And there are open source models which can do some wonderful task. How do you
Mm-hmm,
upscale an image? Like you have created an image, and usually with AI, when you create an image, the quality is pretty low. How do you make it the
mm-hmm.
highest quality? How do you make it
Yeah.
print ready?
Mm-hmm,
Because many people want to
mm-hmm.
print whatever they create. So all
Yes.
of those
Mm-hmm,
stuff is something we cover. So by the end of the cohort, anybody who has gone through the materials and done the projects would be very confident and master using any of these tools,
mm-hmm,
and will have those new skill sets which is required on the CV right now. like people, creative agencies,
Yeah.
design
Mm,
agencies are hiring and they are requesting that we need these kind of skill sets. They will have a
mm,
portfolio, or even if they are a business owner, they will know what is the
mm.
tool stack they can use to
Yeah. Right.
improve their entire
Yeah.
productivity and get that business performance that they're looking for.
I was part of your cohort
Yeah,
and I learned deeply. I'm expanding a little bit like this.
yeah,
So it becomes a T types learning. And
exactly.
what most probably in the next year, I mean, the workflows, you talked about automating the workflows, right?
Yeah,
So even I'm thinking of that, how can I make my life easier
yeah,
so that next time onwards, I will automate my needs. Like, okay, as soon as I write in Excel, okay, this
yeah,
is my thought, like that. Okay, there are multiple 10 thoughts. Then connector will pick this
yeah,
row by row, will feed the information, for example, to Flux or
exactly.
Midjourney,
Yeah,
and from there it will do the prompting. I mean,
yeah.
basically, maybe in between sitting is Chat GPT or something like that. The
Create those
prompting.
prompts. Yeah,
So I'll have the prompts. Then that prompts will be fed directly into Midjourney, and I have the
yeah.
image directly in a folder created.
Exactly. That's a perfect
Yeah.
automation. That's a perfect AI workflow. You don't have to sit there and craft these prompts every single time and go to the app and create those images. You just
Mm-hmm.
need the baseline settings, what you want, the concept,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
you can use LLM to create all those prompts. The next
Yeah.
step, you can use automation APIs to then go create it on
Mm-hmm.
Flux. Once the images are
Yeah.
created, it shows back work.
I am loving actually doing this.
Yeah.
At the moment, yes, of course. The time, I mean, everybody's life is gonna be very, very busy. That
Yeah.
is for sure.
Yeah.
So having such automations will make our life better and
Yeah.
easier. And the output also. If I do these things, I will not get the finished image for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But using these tools helps me. It's like a booster,
It is, yeah.
a catalyst.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. That's really wonderful, Sachin. Tell me about your consistent creation, the
Yeah,
tool which you are developing at the
right.
moment.
So, consistent character AI is a B2B software, and we'll
Hmm.
also have creator plans. If an individual wants to use the tool to bring their character ideas to life, they can use the tool. Within the application, you can first use a reference image. Let's say you have some inspiration of what the character should look like. Maybe it's a
Hmm.
cartoon character, a comic book that you want to create. Maybe
Yeah.
it's an advertisement that you want to
Hmm.
create. Maybe it's a short film you want to create. These are the top use cases, but it can
Even the
also,
film.
yeah, even the film for photorealistic
Okay.
cinematic results. It
Hmm.
can also be a game design or as part
Okay.
of your pitch deck, you want to create some characters and start telling a story of a product, right?
Uh-huh.
So there are some
Yeah.
creative use cases, but the goal is if you have a story to tell as
Hmm.
part of any of these use cases and you want to design a character and you have
Hmm.
some inspiration for what the character should look like, you might have an idea that this character should have this color shirt, this type of hairstyle. If you have a very basic description or even a
Hmm.
reference image, you can use that application. You can use the reference image, create prompts. You don't have to think about prompting very much. Choose any style, illustration style, you can choose Pixar, cartoon
Hmm.
animation style, you can choose photorealistic photographic style, and then create that character within the application
Hmm.
just within a minute, within less than a minute. If
Hmm.
you don't like it, you can generate another one. You can keep
Hmm.
generating until you like that character. Once you like that
Uh-huh.
character, you can lock it. You can say, I like this character right now.
Hmm.
Now I want to create the same character in a different pose.
Okay.
Step,
Hmm.
you can either take your own photograph and create a specific pose that you want to create, or you
Hmm.
can use an image on the internet where maybe the character is running and you want your character to also run, or you want the
Oh, okay.
character to raise hands or show a
Hmm.
thumbs up as part of
Hmm.
telling a
Hmm.
story. All of these are very hard to prompt. You cannot prompt for a specific pose. There are no words to describe it. You can
Yeah. Right.
upload your reference image, and the
Hmm.
app will help you mimic the exact pose for the character that you
Hmm.
have just generated. Now you can start creating your character in any pose with any expression, start
Mm-hmm.
telling a story. You can always use ChatGPT, right? So you can always
Mm-hmm.
create those stories in ChatGPT, and then for each of those images, you can use the application to bring your character to life and have that same character consistent in every generation.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it, Sachin. I will use your application for sure.
I'll be
It's
glad
like
to see you create some cool stuff with it.
I'll share my creativity using your tools.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, Sachin. So I think I'm also having interest at, I mean, do you host some kind of yearly or quarterly, I mean, for all the people, those who are following you, you must be, I mean, there should be a like, loyal for followers for you.
Mhm.
Do you host some kind of follow-up sessions for
Yeah,
them?
I would love to do that. What we have right now is weekly or bi-weekly newsletters where I keep
Mm-hmm.
sharing this. We host workshops, free workshops on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
We have LinkedIn events once a month. I would love to host something like that, like a yearly LinkedIn event or a
Yeah.
workshop where I just showcase all the examples, what's possible. Yeah, absolutely. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds like a good idea.
I can be part of that also. I
Yeah,
can also attend that
I
just to keep myself updated.
I can definitely send you an invitation on that.
This is wonderful, Sachin. I have like, although I've attended your session, but it's a privilege to have one-to-one session and then again repeat all the things which we have covered in the program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my pleasure.
How people will find out your program through LinkedIn. Am I right?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Sachin Kamath,
Yeah.
and you will find the website over there. If not, our website is called neolemon.com. From there, they can find the courses. When the application is launched, it will be called Consistent Character AI.
Consistent character. Okay.
Yeah,
So the last two advice. One advice for the young generation,
yeah,
they are potentially studying at the moment and they are kind of thinking what will happen. I mean, this always happens with everybody. I was going through that.
yeah,
Oh, what will happen with my life?
yeah.
Will
Same
it
here,
be
same here.
some advice for them?
Yeah,
I mean, you loved your path, you were doing pretty well with PNG and all companies, right?
y-
And then you moved. Okay, for
yeah.
you it was a clear path, the
It,
environment
it,
showed you the path.
I think it was a very difficult 1 to 2 years. Quitting my job was the most difficult decision for me.
Huh.
My parents were saying, "Hey, you have a wonderful job. Why do you want to quit?" It's obvious, right? They care about if if I will be like what will happen and uncertainty,
Yeah,
and they want to see if I'll be
uncertainty.
okay. I'm not in India. I'm in Germany. I'm in Portugal, and I had my
Yeah.
partner Diana, who was fully supporting me at that particular moment, and we started building things together. And
Mhm.
those 1.5 years was very tough, very uncertain. I think the advice is always tough and difficult. You have to make a decision and stick with it. The only way out is through it. You just have to work hard through it, and you will have
Mhm.
to feel certain amount of pain because there is no way out of it. But once you
Yeah.
go through it,
Mhm.
you will and and I'm pretty sure you probably also face at some parts of your life you just had to go through it to be
Yeah.
able to see on the other side. So I think that would be my
Mhm.
advice: take calculated risks, make courageous decisions, stick with it, and see yourself through it.
Yeah.
Once you're through
Yeah.
it, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. It's like the tunnel.
Yeah,
You will see the light.
and it is an uncertain period. Nobody can tell you if
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
like this or like that, and you cannot take anybody's advice. You can just take
Mm-hmm.
examples and motivate yourself, but
Motivation. Yeah.
every advice is still going to be uncertain.
Yeah.
You just
Mhm.
have to live through that, also believe in yourself and go through
Yeah. I loved the example which you shared that once you have taken the decision, don't back out. Basically, it's a well-known story of a rabbit, one of the fast animal,
it. Yeah,
but then it also gets killed
yeah,
on the road. The
yeah,
only reason is that the rabbit is not able to take the decision.
yeah, exactly.
And once I've taken the decision, then go for it. Full
Yeah,
force. Massive action has to happen.
yeah, fully agree.
Yeah. Yeah. This is useful, Sachin. Thank you very much. I believe that lot of people, those who wants to utilize the creative part of like in their business or life for their customers or for their themselves, they will make a lot of benefit through your courses and through your LinkedIn posts and any other forums if you open in future could be the follow-ups as well. I wish you all the best and keep enlightening us because I am benefiting a lot from your the messages and your bi-weekly post. Yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate your words, Pradeep. It's a pleasure, and it's been a wonderful conversation. Thanks for inviting me. We'll definitely have more conversations.
Next time you visit Germany, then I'm in near to Mannheim. So next time when you are
Yeah,
nearby
yeah.
or in Germany, just message me. Maybe we can meet if it is weekend.
I will.
Thank you very much, Sachin. Then enjoy your rest of the evening, and we will have some other follow-up sessions some other time.
Thank you so much, Pradeep.
And
Take care. Bye.
then thank you, everyone. Bye for now.